Hey friends, we're in silly season, right? It's a time of year that a player's Instagram activity constitutes as breaking news. I mean, come on. Instead, I'd like to use these days as a time of reflection. I want to talk to you about one fact. I believe there's three more Chicago Bears that are worthy of Hall of Fame consideration. And what we should do as a fan base, we should start banging the table for them at once for their enshrinement. So let's look what just happened for a little background. As you know, we just had three players that just went into the Hall of Fame: Devin Hester, Julius Peppers, and Steve McMichael. By the way, our prayers go out to him and his family as he recovers in hospital right now. We love you, Mongo. But they are the first trio of players to go into Hall of Fame at the same time that played for the same team for at least 4 years since the San Francisco 49ers enshrined three in the year 2000. The Bears also, we remain at the top of the mountain with the most Hall of Famers in the NFL. That's 39 total players. The Bears have 32 primary players in the Hall of Fame with 7 partial players. We have one head coach in the Hall of Fame. That's Papa Bear Hallis, of course. So that puts us at 40 total members. So who are the next Chicago Bears worthy of enshrinement in Canton? A good place to start, and I'm going to bring up a story from Fox 32 Chicago. A good place to start is Bears offensive lineman Jay Hilgenberg. He was the Bears center through the majority of the 1980s. He was paired up with Tom Thayer and Jimbo Covert to make up an offensive line that blocked for the legendary Walter Payton. They helped Payton break the all-time rushing record as well. And it would be yet another honor for the 1985 Bears team, right? They seemingly have earned more honors as the years go on. It continued with Michael last week's, just so deserved and so good. After all, McMichael, his enshrinement was way overdue. You don't combine his career statistics and career longevity only to settle on anything less than Hall of Fame. So I'm so glad. And his spokesperson put it best. She said, "We all believe this is long overdue." That's what Betsy Shepard, McMichael's publicist of 24 years, said in a press release. His stats are better than some who are already in the Hall of Fame, and that's been fulfilled. In the same vein, the same rules apply to Hilgenberg. Let's look at it. This isn't a guy that just performed individually. He was the unquestioned anchor of Chicago's offensive line for a decade. He was undrafted out of Iowa, which is crazy. And he helped Chicago win 6 division championships, 1 conference title in the 1985 Super Bowl, of course. On top of that, he anchored the line that allowed the Bears to lead the league in rushing for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 seasons. In 88 and 89, he was a 2-time first-team All-Pro, a 2-time second-team All-Pro in 86 and 1990. And here's what's crazy: 7 straight Pro Bowls from 85 to 91. Now, being a center, that makes enshrinement tough. Only 11 have made it in. But let's do some comparison here. Hall of Famer Dwight Stevenson, he started in 2 Pro Bowls. Mike Webster, he started in 5. Dermontti Dawson, man, I can't say words today. Sorry about that. He started in 5. And Kevin Mawe, he was in 4. Now, when you talk about Jay Hilgenberg, the number is 7. Not 7 played in, but 7 started. This alone shows here's a player who spent most of a full decade being the best player in the NFL at his position. And since he's a senior member, he needs others to advocate on his behalf, right? We need to be a part of this. And the charge was led in 2019 by Dan Pompei. You guys know him. He's a former writer for the Tribune and for The Athletic. And it's time for the momentum to get started again. Let's head this. He joined McMichael, Jimbo Covert, Richard Dent, Dan Hampton, Walter Payton, Michael Singletary in the Hall from that 85 team. And let's just get this done. He is the main player that's 100% worthy of the Hall of Fame. And another player I would like to bring up for consideration, it at least warrants some consideration, and that's Charles Peanut Tillman. Y'all remember the Peanut Punch, right? I mean, it's hard to forget. And in 12 seasons, he was just a takeaway machine. Turning turnovers into an art was what he did, punching the ball out of the hands of ball carriers and receivers. Nobody really did it better. 42 forced fumbles. That's most in the NFL during the years he played by a player that didn't rush the passer. And he also picked the ball off too. 3rd in Bears history with 36 picks. That's a ton. Going selected for only 2 Pro Bowls, being voted there only once, that might hurt his case a bit, but man, if you watch the Lovie Smith cover 2 during those years, Peanut, he was the game changer in on the back end. With that, he has Bears records with 9 defensive scores, 8 interception return touchdowns, 675 interception return yards, and once again, 36 interceptions. And on a team known for defense, he holds all those records, and I'd just love to see him considered. My third candidate that I think deserves consideration, that's our boy, Lance Briggs. I mean, the main problem with Briggs, he played alongside one of the most dominant linebackers to ever play. And you guys know that's Brian Urlacher, right? That's all well enough. But let's look at what happened when Urlacher hurt his wrist in the first game of the season and had to sit out all of 2009. Briggs led the team. 118 tackles in the Pro Bowl. I mean, if he was showcased in his own right, I think he would have further shown what a force he was at linebacker. I mean, just one of the best we've ever had here. In all, let's look at his career stats. We're talking 12 seasons, 173 games with 170 starts, 1,566 tackles, 15 sacks, 16 picks, 18 forced fumbles, 7 Pro Bowls. That says a lot about the player he was as well. Also add in 6 defensive scores, third most in team history, 5 interception return touchdowns, that's tied for second most. Also an interesting stat, he was the first linebacker in history to return a pick for a score in his first 3 seasons. I mean, that's kind of an odd stat, but it's also really indicative of how he started his career as a dominant force from the moment he put on the uniform. I mean, he came out of the gate swinging. He was dominant from the second we started playing him. And I think out of the 3, if you're to rate these, I would say Hilgenberg. He's probably the player that frankly should already be there, and the voices should be getting louder for him to get his bust in Canton, and we can be a part of that voice. Although not first balloters, I think we're going to eventually see Peanut Tillman. We're going to eventually see Briggs wear the yellow jerseys, and I just think it would be fantastic. You guys let me know if there are any other players that you think should be up for enshrinement into the NFL Hall of Fame out in Canton. I just feel like Briggs in particular, he would have been a Hall of Fame player. He would have been a definite dominant force, a number 1 linebacker, one of the best of all times. If he was like in an era that he didn't have to sit in the shadow of Brian Urlacher, that's a huge shadow. That's a huge standard to live up to. And I think Briggs was more than able to do so if he would have been left on his own accord, if he would have been able to, just show his stuff without that comparison every single week. And in that year in 2009, when Urlacher was hurt, Briggs totally proved that. He totally showed that he would have been able to do that on his own. And 7 Pro Bowls. I think he's a very worthy consideration of the Pro Bowl. And I absolutely love Tillman. You guys tell me if I'm off base, but I'd at least like to see him get some votes for the Hall of Fame. So you guys let me know. Thank you so much for still listening during this time leading up to the combine. I'm trying not to come up with fake stories. I want to give you actual substance, actual meat to chew on during this time, and let the other people steal and chase weird stories and make them up. I'm not going to do that right now. So, you know what? I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bear down, and let's continue to enjoy this off season. See ya.